everybody. I'm back. It's another week, another 19 hard things, another piece to the puzzle. I'm excited to be here. It's actually Wednesday. Normally I record on Mondays, but my allergies were kicking my tail the last couple of days. I don't know what's floating around in the air, but if I have some sniffles on here, forgive me, but it's just kind of part of it. So we're on the 13th 13th section of the 19 hard things. This is going really fast, a lot faster than I thought it would be. But I want to tell you about some current events first, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So this last week, I actually had a post on this guy posted something on Facebook, and he was talking about, like, it was a picture of his kids, and they were sitting on the couch with their iPads, right? And he was talking about screen time, like how much screen time should I allow? And and I feel like I can say this because I've been there, right? So understand, this is not coming from judgment. This is coming from a place where I know the changes happen in the home, because it did with us and our family as well. So I'm looking at his kids, and they're young, probably under the age of 12-ish or so, and they're overweight, right? I mean, that's what's happening to a lot of our kids right now. Like, y'all, I don't even know the little side note, but did you know that they have approved um, weight loss surgery and the weight loss shots for kids up 12 years old, because we have such an obesity rate in our children these days? Like, it's really scary. And so anyway, he's talking about how how much screen time his kids should have, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, kick their butts outside, make them go ride their bikes and play in creeks and climb trees, right? I mean, that's why most of the kids are where they are now, is because nobody gets outside and plays, nobody goes and rides bikes in the neighborhood. I mean, y'all remember how active we were when we were kids? We never stopped. I mean, we watched TV, but yeah, it was like Saturday morning cartoons, right? And maybe Hee Haw or Wheel of Fortune in the evenings, but we were riding bikes till the street lights came on, right? That's just what we did. Um, and the screen time is killing all of us. It's not just the kids, it's the adults too, right? We're just not as active. I would be curious to know the answer to what the average step count is for every individual. Like, what's the average? I try to hit 12,000 steps a day. But for the most part, somewhere it falls between 8 and 12 most days. Uh, and that's with me walking a couple of miles in the morning too. So, I get pretty sedentary myself doing what I do. So anyway, I totally squirreled on that. Sorry. So that's what I said, like, kick their butts outside, right? Do you know that Facebook came back and said that your comment looks similar to content that we've removed for going against community standards? Are you kidding me? What kind of control are we under? Are you serious? Because I said kick their butts out of the house? Uh, What is even happening here, y'all? I mean, I'm sure Facebook doesn't want you to kick their butts out of the house and make them go climb trees, because then they wouldn't be on Facebook or social media or being addicted to it like we all are. And it is an addiction at this point. It's where we get most of our dopamine hits from in life. I mean, really, we're always checking. I wonder who liked that. I wonder who saw that. I wonder who, whatever, who commented. I wonder if someone commented. Just how it is. So that was the first thing that happened last week, that I was really shocked and really disappointed in Facebook. Social media is important with my business. And it's also important for me because I love looking back at my memories. That's one of my favorite things to do every day, is look back at memories and see, how far I've come, and where things have gone. And just, it's like a journal of my whole life is out there. I think it's pretty cool. Um, and you know, I know the Chinese have all the information now because, and the US government and all the things. Um, I had a lady tell me one time that she does not take pictures of herself and leave them on her phone. And I'm like, babe, your phone's videoing you. You know, I mean, I get it trying to protect, but you just can't. You have a phone, right? Anyway, so that was one of the first things. Next thing is it's almost Danny's birthday. It's on May 1st. So please feel free to blow up his Facebook with lots of birthday messages. He would appreciate that. And that always makes us feel loved. Talk about those dopamine hits again, right? His birthday, he's going to be over the 50 hump as he will be hitting 51. But we have lots of things planned this weekend. We're going to get together with some friends on Friday night, just easy stuff, hang out on the patio, have a couple of drinks and some snacks and some good conversation and with some of our favorite people. And then Saturday, we're gonna Gage actually has Gage and Braden have their housewarming party Saturday evening, so we're gonna stop by there, and then we're gonna go meet our friends Jennifer and Larry at Jack Ryan's, which is become our traditional birthday place that we meet up every year, which is great because the food is absolutely incredible. I'm going to make sure I wear a dress because I will be so uncomfortable in pants because I'll eat so much. I mean, it's too good not to pass up. Um, they have the best calamari. They have the best filet queso. They have the best banana trifle and polenta. Oh my gosh, it's the first time I ever tried polenta. Oh, that's some good, crazy good stuff. So anyway, we're gonna meet there and have some dinner and then come back to the house and Larry and Jennifer are gonna get to spend the night with us since they don't live across the street anymore. Which is sad, but they're gonna be here to spend some time, so it's good. And I'm excited about that for sure. Uh it'll be a good 51st birthday for my husband, hopefully. I asked him, I said, what do you want do you want a cake? Do you want, um, do you want me to make a lemon icebox pie? What do you want, right? What do you want for your birthday? Do you want cheesecake? Because that's usually his favorite, but it's not really everybody else's favorite. And then I was like, because you could just make some cookies, just make it easy. And I'm like, he's like, just throw them on a pan and put them in the oven, easy. And I was like, ooh, what if I made the chocolate chip peanut butter cookies? And he's like, now you're speaking my language. So I guess I'm making chocolate chip peanut butter cookies. But anyway, it'll be fun Friday night and Saturday night. We're excited. So that's his birthday coming up. Um, One of the things that happened this past weekend is, we got like torrential rain on Saturday. And Saturday morning, Danny was out running a couple of errands and he calls me and um, he's like, well, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, what do you need? He's like, I have a flat tire. And I'm like, oh God, it's like nasty raining. Like it's not pouring rain, but it's drizzly and nasty, right? The rain's coming. And so um I I'm such a girl, right? I'm such a girl because he has to call me on FaceTime to so I can show him a picture of the tools in his toolbox in his tool drawer. So I make sure I get the right stuff, and he's like, "Nope, that one. Nope, that one." And I mean, it's hilarious, right? So anyway, I bring oh gosh, what's it called? The air compressor. God, I'm finding my words these days, y'all. So I grab the air compressor and the tools that he needs and stuff, and some cardboard so he can lay on it because it's wet. And I get in the car, and he's about 10 minutes from home. He's not far. And where he's at is on this two-lane highway. And of course, that scares the crap out of me anyway, because these country roads, people just drive so fast, right? And that's where a majority of our accidents in this area happen is on the two-lane country roads. And so I had a full on like mom panic. I mean, because at the end of the day, I'm still a mom and I'm very protective over my family. Um, So I pull up and he's in this center lane, right? And it's a wide lane. I give him that. I will give him that because we talked about this. It was a wide lane, but there was a space over to the side. It was kind of like a half driveway that he could have pulled into. So there's cars coming up over the hill, right? And I am just a little freaked out because it's raining and I had a wreck in the rain years ago, so hydroplaning and people sliding, it just scared the crap out of me. And I was like, I got up to him and I'm like, I bring him all the tools up, like, you got to move. You got to move. This is scaring me being right here in the middle of this traffic flying by us at 70 miles an hour in the rain, right? I have a legit fear like in my gut. And I just had this picture in my head of somebody coming down the hill and trying to slow down and ended up sliding, slowing down because they see the hazards, but then ended up sliding and like slamming into us. And he was like, well, then just go home. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving you here. I'm like, if you're going to die, I'm going to die with you. It's all or nothing at this point. Like, no way. You're not going, if you go out like this, I'm going out with you. Cause no. Uh, Anyway, so he stayed where he was, and a few minutes later, and I'm just like, I'm beside myself. And a few minutes later, I'm like, I see this car, and I'm like, oh God, like I'm thinking, like in my mind, this car's coming at us. And it really wasn't. It's just, my fear. And so it's this white SUV, and this guy rolls down the window, and like it's misting a little bit, it's wet outside, but still not pouring. And he's like, hey, do y'all need some help? And I was like, honestly, I think he's got it handled. I said, I'm just worried about the cars coming over the hill and not seeing us. So he's like, well, I don't mind sitting here. And I said, well, do you mind backing up a little bit so that, the cars will see your hazards a little sooner? And he's like, no, I don't mind at all. So he backed his car up and we talked and he introduced, I said, I'm Allison. He said his name was John. And I was like, I'm really grateful for you helping. Well, he saw Danny kind of struggling to get the plug into the tire, and he got out of his car. Like, you could tell he wasn't just a sitter kind of guy. Like, he's a doer, right? He's a helper. So he gets out, and he's like, man, how can I help you? What can I do? And he gets down on the ground and I'm like, oh my gosh, John, you're going to get your clothes soaking wet. He's like, it's okay. I'm in the middle of moving. It's not a big deal. And I was like, oh, you're stopping to help us when you're in the middle of the movie. He's like, he said, I can only hope that someone would stop for me sometime. And he said, I feel like, it's the right thing to do is just ask people if they need help. Cause at this point, Danny had been in the turn lane for probably 15 minutes or so waiting for me to get there. Um, and no one had stopped to offer assistance, which is crazy, but whatever. Anyway, so John helps him out, um, and it was just, I mean, it was just so nice. He was such a nice guy. And then it started like right as Danny got the plug in, because the where he thought there was a nail, apparently he had two nails in his tire. And he plugged one, and that wasn't the thing. So we used most of the air from the air compressor. And then it still was running. So he had to put another plug. I had to like back up the car and I am not the best at receiving instructions in a stressful situation. I can give them, but receiving them is a little different. And Danny is not great at giving direction in a stressful situation. I love you, babe, but it's not. He's more barking orders than anything, and I'm kind of that way too. So people take it wrong, but I know he's got good intentions. He's just frustrated and stressed. Um, so anyway, we get the tire plugged, and right as he did, like, it started pouring down rain, like pouring. And so we all rushed to our cars, and I was like thinking on the way back, I was like, God, I didn't even get John's number. I didn't even get John's last name. All I know is that him and his wife were living in a house in Tyler, and one of their family members ended up needing the house, and so they gave them 30 days to move. Um, And so he said him and his wife found a little wife or girlfriend, I think, found a little a house in White House, and they were in the process of moving today between Tyler and White House. And I was like, that's all I know about John. I know he's like medium build, he's got brown hair and a mustache. He's probably in his late 30s. Super nice guy. So if anybody knows John that moved from Tyler to White House last weekend, please let me know, because we would like to like take John and his wife out to dinner, right? It's just a huge thank you. Sorry that was kind of long, but that's what happened. So if you know John, share this and maybe John will find his way to us, hopefully. But John was our guardian angel that day for sure, and we're super grateful for him. All right, so I am going to jump into the 19 hard things, because that's enough about our world. Oh, I want to tell you one last thing. So go check out my Facebook. I put some pictures of Mau Mau, you know, the little kitty that we have that was the stray that is now living like a princess on our back porch. Everywhere I go, she goes. It's so crazy. I have a little guard kitty. I was in the pool yesterday. She laid in the flower bed close to me. I was up on the patio. She was up in the chair close to me. I mean, she knew I was going out walking, so I walked outside and she was sitting out in the yard waiting for me. I mean, it's just the cutest thing, right? I mean, it makes me smile every time I walk past the door and see her out in the chair just lounging. I never allowed animals on my furniture, but I also know that you can't control a cat either. Like, they're going to do what they want, which is why I never had cats. Oh, I'm learning my lesson with a cat now for sure. Now there's cat hair all over my stuff. Ugh. But anyway, I love her and it's worth it. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. So, what we're talking about is the 19 hard things you need to do to be successful. And it's by a guy named David John Kay. It's something that we've studied in our team, and I just thought it would be something that would be helpful for others. So it starts out, I just kind of go down the list so you know kind of where we're at. I make the call I'm afraid to make. I get up earlier than I want to get up. I give more than I get in return right away. I care more about others than they care about me. I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. I feel unsure and insecure when playing it safe seems smarter. I lead when no one else is following me yet. I invest in myself even though no one else is. I look like a fool while I'm looking for answers I don't have. I grind out the details when it's easier to shrug them off. I deliver results when making excuses is an option. I search for my own explanations even when I'm told to accept the facts. And now, today we're on number 13. I make mistakes and look like an idiot. Oh man. I make mistakes and look like an idiot. Yikes. This is for sure 100%. And I have done this so much with my team. And this is kind of hard to talk about because, you know, I'm all about, I'll be the first one to own up to my mistakes and admit that I'm wrong, or I'll be the first to apologize in a situation. Um, but I think it just boils down to I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea that I was going to be a leader, right? I didn't know that's where this was leading, and I damn sure wasn't prepared for it. I learned things along the way for sure. One of the best things we ever did was the hero's journey with Darren Hardy. I've talked about that on here before. That was probably one of the best things we did for our marriage, for our kids, for our business, for our life, for our own personal growth and development. Personal development is huge when you're trying to lead people. I mean, I'm a type A personality, right? I'm total type A. I am controlling. I don't have a lot of, not that I don't have empathy. I'm a workhorse, and I don't know why everybody else isn't. And that's just literally how it is. Um, I don't understand why people won't work hard for what they deserve, right? or what's capable of them, or what they are capable of, sorry. Um, I just didn't realize the huge mistakes I was making so early on in the game, and looking back, 8 years later, I wish I'd have done things a little different. But I didn't. And that's part of it, right? Is part of it is learning from your mistakes. Like, if you don't make mistakes, how are you going to learn? Because that's the stuff that hits us in the face, right? And like, oh shit, I'm not doing that again. No, I've already been down that road. How do I handle this differently, right? And learning to not react is one of the biggest things for me, because I'm a super reactive person. Um, and I think that's probably one of my biggest downfalls, is I'm very reactive, but I have to practice the pause. And I'm going to show you something on my shelf. It's something that my coach Christine gave me. And so if this goes to show, it says pause, right? And it sits on my shelf. And because it's something that I need to do, I need to learn to practice the pause. And she taught me that in the very beginning. I didn't listen very well. I don't know how coachable I truly was, but I don't know. I had my mindset, and she just kind of let me run with it, which is good. I wish I had done that with more people. I wish I had let more people run with things. I think that's where I faltered, is I wanted people to do things like me. And I think that it's not because I want to control them. It's because I want the customer to have the same experience that I had, right? And there's a difference when you get into this business. There's a couple of options, right? You can learn how to be a coach like I am, or you can just sling kits and make money. But here's the difference, right? If you just sling kits and make money, most people don't come back because they don't get the help. Losing weight is hard. It's hard, and it's hard to do it on your own by yourself, right? And so the fact that I had a community of people to help me when I was struggling and to cheer me on when I was doing great, that was huge. And I have so many people, because there are people in this business that just sling kits because they're just making money, right? There are people that come to us and they're like, yeah, I didn't get any coaching. And they have a whole new experience when they sign up 3 years later with with myself or someone on my team. They have a completely different experience because they get the attention and the love and the support that they need. Does it take time? Yes, but what do you end up with in the long run? You end up with people that stick around, people that reorder from you every month, people that feel good, people that share it with other people, right? Because we're not a household name. It's just not. And so I think that's important to know, that I don't know, it's your business. You can do what you want with it, but I care about the people that come into it. I care that they get the experience that they deserve and that they paid for. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's where that struggle is, right? That's why I want people to learn how to coach and to do the things, because it's not just it's for it's for their person, right? It's for their person to have the best experience possible, and there's not many places that offer what we do. So anyway, that was kind of it. And you have to be willing to make mistakes and look like an idiot, because, like I said, that's where you grow, and that's in life too, like parenting, in choices we make, in the people and the friends and the boyfriends and the girlfriends and all of that, right? I mean, there's guys I dated, and my mama looked at me and she was like shaking her head. And she's like, I don't understand. Like, take for instance, a long time ago, I'll never forget this. I was dating this boy named Braxton, and I think I talked about this at some point, but man, you talk about making a mistake and looking like an idiot to my parents. I was dating this boy and my mom hadn't met him, so she drove me to the Pizza Hut where it was down the street from his house so she could meet him. And Braxton was this like he was just a heavy metal rocker dude, right? And he had this long hair and kind of frizzy and but he was just, oh my God, he was such a pretty boy, right? Um, but he was everything my mom didn't want me to date, right? So I remember looking at her and she just sat across from the table from me and just shook her head. And there's not much she could do, right? So she just kind of let it go. Well, my mom was right. Because when I went down to spend spring break with Braxton in Dallas, I didn't know that his dad was one of the biggest drug dealers in Dallas. And they were busted while I was there. I was 15 years old. And I was woken up that morning to police wake up. We need to see some ID at like 5 a.m. They raided his house while I was there. Are you kidding me? My mom was right. You want to talk about I make mistakes and look like an idiot? I looked like an idiot. And those police had to call my effing parents to drive from Tyler to Dallas to come and pick me up. That was a long, long car ride home. It was a long, quiet car ride home. And you know, when your parents are quiet, that's the scary part, right? So, like I said, it falls into every aspect of your life. You have to make mistakes. How do we grow if we don't make mistakes, right? Every mistake that I've made, I want to say that for the most part, I've grown from, right? I try to do better the next time. Um, it's not always easy, for sure, but it's something that I definitely try for. Um, so I want you to think about that. Like, what are situations where you've made mistakes and you look like an idiot? Um, I'll tell you one thing my team is fearful to do is Facebook Live videos because they don't want to look stupid and they don't want to make a mistake. It's okay. Do it. Because do you know what happens when you do that? When you make mistakes in front of other people on stage? Oh my gosh, I fumbled when I was on stage a couple of years ago at Zingfest. I totally stumbled. And everybody's like, it's okay. You got it, Allison. I mean, people cheer you on, right? Because they feel for you because you become human to them. And they're like, and when you look like a human instead of this perfection on the screen, you you're more relatable, right? They can relate to that. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? What? So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. Like, I want you to get online and mess up. Laugh at yourself. I do that all the time. I do that on here all the time, right? I screw up, I say something wrong, I just laugh at myself because nobody's perfect. Nobody's able to portray this like perfect image. You're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna look like an idiot. It is part of life, part of growing up, part of growing as a human. Like, it's okay. Give yourself that permission to make those mistakes because that's where you grow and that's where you learn. Okay. Ah, so that's it. I'll be back next week for the next one. But if you have any stories of where, you made a mistake and you look like an idiot, drop them in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with somebody about this. I think it would be a really great topic to talk about. So if you have any questions, pop them in there. Otherwise, peace out, homies. I'll see you next week. Bye.